Well, hopefully the devs are listening. We're going to go through today a variety of polls here on my exclusively Diablo 2 Resurrected channel to see what the community is really thinking. So the first one is an interesting snapshot from March 4th before the Season 1 launch, and it was, what is your favorite newly boosted build for 2.4 ladder from PTR? And this was the new skills and the new changes after everyone got a chance to touch them and take a look and see what different content creators said and stuff. You can see here at 41%, Fist of Heaven's Paladin was way higher than all the rest, and it did end up being the most powerful. Obviously, people are going to be the most excited about the ones that they can just absolutely wreck the game with absolute ease. Now these other ones here, the Throw Barb, Summon Druid, and the Lightning Strike Amazon, they are much lower, with the Summon Druid being higher. It is kind of exciting to have the whole Zoo Druid thing going on. None of these are particularly used a ton. They're kind of more just like, I don't know, people call them meme builds or whatever. You play them for fun. They're not really the best, but they are fun to do. There were some other stuff. One that I ended up starting off with that worked kind of good here was the Nova Sorceress, and obviously there was like the Hydra Sorceress, which get used a little bit as well. They aren't used a ton though, because once again they are not as crazy good as some of the other builds like Hammerden. The Fist of Heavens get changed up, Lightning Fury, Javazon, and all that good stuff, but Nova Sorceress was very fun. So up next here we got a poll from March 24th, and this one did have 6,500 votes, which is important to know. That's a pretty good sample size from my pretty much strictly Diablo 2 Resurrected YouTube channel here, so it is all Diablo 2 Resurrected players essentially, so keep that in mind. But what is your opinion on the first season of Diablo 2 Resurrected so far? And like I said, this was March 24th. I can't remember the exact date that it launched, but I think this was about a month, a little under a month into the first season. I can't remember the date. We'll have to double check that, but 16% said it was great, 39% said it was pretty good, so got 30%, not good only 7%, and terrible 8%. So the important thing to note is after the ladder actually did get launched and people got their hands on the new changes and stuff, majority of people thought it was at least okay or pretty good. Most people thought it was pretty good once they really did get their hands on it. So even though there were so many delays, it was like 8 months into the game or 6 months into the game's launch before they even had their first ladder. It is important to note, and I think that eventually most people think that they got the ladder right, and these are the most hardcore Diablo 2 fans that really would expect the most from the first season of Diablo 2 Resurrected. Now this one I did from 2 days after that last poll, May 26th, and I got almost 8,000 votes on this image poll right here. Now if you can't see it too good, the option 1 has the 3 difficulties, normal, nightmare, and hell, but it also has a icon that adds right here abyss difficulty. Now whatever the name would be, who cares, but that's like adding a harder difficulty onto the game. And out of Diablo 2 Resurrected fans, 80% want a harder difficulty for Diablo 2 Resurrected. Now just throwing my little opinion and take on it, I would kind of be on board for a harder difficulty, maybe a difficulty like, you know, with the monsters harder, but I feel like the drops should not be increased, because then everyone would be farming that. People would be geared up even faster, and the faster you fully gear your characters, then the faster people stop playing a ladder. So you want to watch out for that. But I think it would be important to add maybe a harder difficulty where you get more experience, and that would then help out the 99 grind or the ladder season race to 99 and stuff like that. This is just my opinion and take on it. Go ahead and feel free to hit the comments with your opinion on something like that. But a full 80% of Diablo 2 Resurrected wants a harder difficulty or something like this. They think that this extra abyss difficulty looked real nice. So now we're hitting one here that is not going to surprise many Diablo 2 Resurrected people watching this video right here, but I just put out the question for the absolute free game of Diablo Immortal. Are you even going to try it? And a full 60%, actually 61% of 8,300 votes said no, they are not even literally going to touch the free game that is Diablo Immortal. Most of you know that I did touch it, and the game is all right. And while they are shoving these loot boxes in your faces, I have no problem just saying, get that crap away from me. I am not spending my money on absolute worthless junk and something that really is just there to suck your money out of your bank account. I have no problem with that, but other people I know struggle to not spend their money on things like that. I completely get the whole predatory blah 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 type of thing. But yeah, even though it's completely free, I think it's hilariously interesting that a pretty solid majority of people said they would not even touch it. I kind of wonder how many people said no and then they ended up downloading it for free sometime when they were sitting on the can just to try it out or something like that. But I do want to stress, if anyone tries this game, do not spend any money on it. It is fun to play with just dabbling around, but do not put a single penny into this game. Even if that one loot box for $1 looks super intriguing, don't do it. Now this one right here is probably the most important poll that I believe ever got answered on my particular channel here. That is, what do you think the most important thing that needs to be changed or fixed for Season 2 of Diablo 2 Resurrected? And I thought it was pretty cool that some other people thought it was a very important poll too. Dobrunsky actually screenshot it, posted up on Twitter, so he thought it was pretty interesting too. That his opinion, I believe, I'm going to throw it up right now, was the loot filters is the most important thing that he said. For me personally, something along the lines of the combination of the stash tabs and currency tabs is, in my opinion, just so, you know, making mules and transferring stuff, it is so annoying. I hate it. But when we go ahead and look at it, the loot filter got 35%. So it is definitely a whole one-third of people thought that was the most important one, or the one that they wanted the most. So I agree. And actually all of these are things that I think that should be changed. Even though I'm anti-change guy, I do mention it all the time. These are kind of simple things that don't really change the core mechanics that I love the most: the magic finding, the loot system, how rare it is to find items. People complain about not finding rare items, but like that they want, but that is why I think the game's so great, because it's so exciting when you do find the first time you find a Griffins or something like that. But let's keep moving down here. 27% said added stash tabs, 20% said adding a currency tab. Only 5% said the way that Diablo clones spawned was something that they wanted to be changed, but everyone only gets one vote, so people think that that's way low on the totem pole of things that they want to change. I think it's kind of too easy to get annies and stuff, but I will be honest, I agree. As for these other things, if they added a loot filter, stash tabs, currency tabs, and they didn't change the way D-clone spawned, I would be perfectly fine with that. I have no problem getting it a one item a little bit too easy, I guess. But man, getting those first three would be absolutely amazing. And down at the bottom here, only 12% picked changing the 99 race in some way was important to them. I think most people don't even really consider racing for 99 something that they're actually going to do. I think that's more of something just, you know, for the pro players essentially that can play for a month straight without leaving their house. Most people will never do that. Most people, I believe, just like the camaraderie of everybody starting over again at the same time, the resetting of the economy, so that, you know, even at the beginning of the game, things like frost burns and mage fists are super valuable because people need them like now. Shakos or go for a bunch, but you know, as the game progresses, that stuff all loses all value. You can't even give it away at some points. So I do kind of agree with this loot filter, stash tabs and currency tabs. I would just kind of swap around what's the most important, but hopefully this is the one that the devs look at and you really see that the people really want this stuff changed. And I do mention this is out of almost 7,000 votes right here. Now with almost 4,000 votes, this is the most important one on my channel ever. I had everybody pick which emote they wanted for my channel members. I just thought it'd be funny. So which one of these stupid looking of my bald head faces people wanted, and they picked option number 4 with almost creeping up on 40% with that blank stare. They just thought it was the best matchup. This is obviously just a funny one I posted up. Well, this one was June 14th, I believe the date was. We got over 7,000 votes on this one, but how good do you think Diablo 4 will be after? This is after Diablo Immortal launch and the most recent news that Blizzard supposedly said there will be no pay to win Diablo 4. Heard that before, right? But that it will only be cosmetics and stuff like that. They essentially heavily insinuated that anyways, the way that they worded their statement from, I think it was Pez Radar or something, can't remember for sure. But with that question posed out here, the percentages on these are incredibly interesting to me. So it'll be very good. You're not worried at all. 14%. Somewhat believe it's going to be good. That's 18%. Unsure, could kind of go either way. You know, you're right in the middle. 35%. So that's the highest percentage. but then 21% probably, it's probably not going to be great, people think, but so there's a chance, but they probably think it's going to be bad, and it's going to be absolutely terrible, 13%. What you do notice there, even though the probably not going to be great is a little bit higher, it's pretty evenly split, to be honest. It looks like people are really all over the board here, and they really don't know what's going to happen. So after Diablo Immortal, it was way more costly to buy all this stuff for Diablo Immortal than people ever expected. So I think that's leaning heavily into this. It doesn't matter if they say Diablo 4 is not going to be pay to win. There's going to be a large percent of people that are just not going to believe them. So I think it's really important for the upcoming, whenever Diablo 4 does launch, they have to be extremely no ifs, ands, or buts about it. They have to come out and say, every single in-game purchase is going to be cosmetics only. You cannot buy any items. You cannot buy any gems, jewels, blah, blah, blah. Nothing like that. You can't buy experience. You can't buy advancement. 100% of everything that you can purchase cannot help you advance through the game in any way. It will just make your character look better in your opinion or to other people. They need to come out and like really nip that right in the bud and make sure that people know that they aren't going to do to Diablo 4 what happened to Diablo Immortal. That will be a good start. That'll be a good start. From then on, they can start trying to convince people that the game's going to be really, really good. So I think that would be really important. Hopefully this is another one that the devs for Diablo 4, Diablo 2 Resurrected, that they hear this type of message from the community. It is, in my opinion, I just want to stress this one more time. They have to make sure people know that you cannot buy items, experience, advancement in Diablo 4. It has to be things that will not give people any type of advantage. So that Diablo 4 last poll was on June 17th. This one now, June 20th here. And we've got, what is your current D2R involvement? I was just kind of interested if people were still playing ladder or not. And we'll take a look right here. We got 29% say they are still playing Diablo 2 Resurrected on ladder. And this is a strictly Diablo 2 Resurrected community, so that's kind of not surprising. This is out of almost 9,400 votes also, by the way. Went back to or always stayed on non-ladder. So this would be people that, oh, well, I have all this good gear on non-ladder, so I'm just going to go back and jump onto those characters instead of trying to grind it out and find this stuff all over again. Or people that just didn't jump to ladder at all and just stayed over there. Went to or always played single player. Now, I love single player. I actually went to single player, so I would fall into this particular category, but it's kind of one of the smaller categories here with 17%, a little higher than the people that went to non-ladder, went to single player. I find that kind of interesting because everybody wanted the whole player's X command. People wanted the static maps, all this stuff that people would complain about wanting to have on ladder. It all already exists on single player. And then also people would complain that they are playing by themselves all the time online. So that's why they want this stuff. Well, if you're playing by yourself already, why don't you play by yourself already on single player? I never understood the argument, but that's why I think a lot more people went to single player than to non-ladder. So you take advantage of all that really good stuff. Not to mention on single player, you can unlimited respecs. So down here at 25%, say they quit, but probably are going to come back for the next ladder. This is an incredibly common one. I'm surprised it's not higher, to be honest, but a lot of people will play ladder for a short period of time. They get everything that they want or get their enjoyment, blah, 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 whatever you want to call it. And then they quit ladder until the hype around the next ladder reset comes out. So at 25%, I thought it'd be a little bit higher, but I see that. But kind of one that's a little bit alarming, not that crazy, not too unexpected, I guess. But a lot of people said they quit for good at 14%. So that's a little bit higher than I thought, but I'm guessing people, maybe they quit, maybe they went to Project Diablo 2, maybe they just went back to their old LOD pluggy. There's so many other options. Maybe Elden Ring they got obsessed with. There's all different kinds of things, Call of Duty, blah, blah, blah. So people definitely do play other games. Not everybody just sticks to Diablo 2 Resurrected all the time like I do, but that was interesting and a little bit higher than I anticipated. Now, recently here, you'll notice the dates are clumped up a little bit. I started doing a few more polls because I had an idea for this video. And this is a very important question to this one's more for the community in general, when people will, get a little bit disheartened that they aren't finding what they're looking for and stuff. Looking at this poll, the hardcore fans that play a lot of hours a day will say, like myself, I play quite a bit, or a lot of other people, this is the real world looking up over here. This is the average Diablo 2 Resurrected player right here, and this is over 6,000 votes, almost 6,400. Here we got, how many high runes have you found since the start of the first ladder? So over the last couple of months. So, and I did right up here specify Vex or higher, just in case there's any varying opinions on what exactly I'm talking about as far as it comes to high runes. Now, almost 50% of people have not found a single high rune in the last 2 months. So Vex or higher, 49% was none. They did not find any. For 1 to 2 high runes over the last couple of months, we got 26%. So that's 75% of people found 2 or less high runes over since Diablo 2 Resurrected ladder started. So keep that in mind, everybody, when you hear different people's opinions on, you know, I guess the high rune drop rates and stuff like that, or people not being able to get gear and things like that. When we jump into 3 to 6 high runes, I thought that was a good range. It's a little bit higher here. I wasn't sure what I should put it at, but looking at the numbers, I think I nailed the ranges here of what you need. From 3 to 6, there is 15%. And that's the category that, even with how much I play, I have a Diablo 2 Resurrected channel. That's the one that I would fall into right there, the 3 to 6. And it's not the 6, it's probably 3 or 4. I can't remember for sure offhand here, but it's more of like the 3 or 4 range. Down here at 4%, 6 to 9, and 10 plus is actually 6%. So some really hardcore people that are grinding out the best areas to farm high runes here. But it is important to note for the rest of the community here, just remember, 75% of people don't really find that many high runes at all. A lot of people, old men like me, like everybody else out here, who fell in love with the game when they were kids, now they're adults, now they have jobs and kids and all this good stuff of their own, don't have all the time that they used to. So really getting all these high runes can be a little bit of a struggle. So be nice to your fellow community members out there, help each other out. So now the very next day after that poll, so this is June 24th, I believe it is, or maybe it was the 23rd. The exact date's not that important, but here we got 5,000 votes on this one. How likely are you to play Season 2 of Diablo 2 Resurrected if no other balancing changes are made? You'll just have the couple of rune words that they kind of, not guaranteed, but essentially guaranteed would happen for every ladder. So if you don't remember, back during the other dev streams, Mr. Llama asked them, are we going to get brand new rune words for every single one? They're like, whoa, hold up. We don't want to promise that, but we are going to continue coming out with new rune words for new seasons. So there's probably going to be a few new rune words for the next upcoming season, but it's not 100% sure in my mind anyways, or that I remember hearing that they're going to balance a bunch more stuff for every single season. I'm not sure that that really was. So if they don't make any more balancing changes, what are you going to, and this poll's only been up for 2 or 3 days to get over 5,000 votes, so I'm going to note that. So this is another one to go out to the devs to see what the community really thinks, and they can kind of act accordingly, and then I'll kind of throw my opinion on top of it as well. But 26% said they are very likely to play. 16% they said they probably will play, like most likely. That's essentially means you're going to play it. 20% said it's kind of back and forth. If they don't change nothing, I might not really play. 16% said that they might not, so like probably not. And then 22% said if they aren't going to change anything, they are absolutely not going to play. And you can see this is a crazy divide. The numbers are pretty flat, pretty even across the entire board here, that if they don't change anything, people are still going to play. Now, like I said, I'm kind of on the anti-change guy side, so I would fall into like the probably or very likely would play if I didn't have a YouTube channel that I'm, you know, using here for my platform. But I'm for sure going to play. But if I didn't, I'm saying I would fall into one of the higher categories to at least try it out and play it a little bit. But people are very, very, very spread out on if they want these changes or if they need these changes for sure. And for this final poll, it was just yesterday. I think it was the 24th. So with 5,500 votes here, I was kind of interested with Project Diablo 2 coming out. If you know, a bunch of people had jumped over to play Project Diablo 2, I will mention I am a channel that does pretty much strictly Diablo 2 Resurrected. But about a year ago, I'd say maybe a year and a half ago, I was making Project Diablo 2 videos for a solid 2 or 3 months. That's all I made on this channel was Project Diablo 2 videos back before Diablo 2 Resurrected came out. So, but with Diablo 2 Resurrected coming out, me committing to essentially Diablo 2 Resurrected, that's been primarily my focus of videos, with an occasional one here and there with news on different things. But right now, what are you playing more? Here we've got 63% Diablo 2 Resurrected, which is not surprising since I'm a Diablo 2 Resurrected channel. only 6%. This is what I'm surprised. This is the day after ladder launch for Project Diablo 2. Only 6% of people said that they started playing Project Diablo 2 after their ladder launch, which I'm a little bit shocked, but 3% old school LOD, so pretty close to the same numbers there of people are playing the old LOD as opposed to even Project Diablo 2. A big number here, 18%. I quit playing all forms in Diablo 2 until the next ladder came out. So almost 20% of people were like, yeah, I'm done. I'm not trying any of these other things. I'm just taking a break here until the next ladder comes out. But then 10% said they just quit playing everything forever. I guess there's always going to be people that quit, but I guess that number might be right around where I would thought it would be. But 63% of the people that did decide to vote on this are still playing Diablo 2 Resurrected. So a good amount of people, a good player base there.